Ever wondered what it takes to enter the United States legally? Who gets the green light and who faces a roadblock at the border? In this video, we're breaking down the crucial role of Customs and Border Protection, what they check, how decisions are made, and what you need to know before crossing the US border. Whether you are a green card holder, you have travel document or a visa, and you're planning on using that to enter the United States, this video is for you. My name is Alena Shautsova. I'm a New York immigration attorney. I've been practicing United States immigration law for 16 years. On this channel, I share immigration news, tips, and my thoughts on various aspects of the United States immigration. So, welcome. Please don't forget to like and share this video, subscribe to my channel, and let's start. You may ask yourself how this lawyer is going to know whether or not somebody is going to be admitted to the United States or not. I'm going to let you know how. This video is based on United States laws and regulations, clients' stories, and most importantly, direct information from the CBP. Just a couple days ago, together with other immigration attorneys, I visited CBP at JFK Airport and had a great opportunity to ask questions from the people who are making decisions as to who is let into the United States and who is not. The first thing that you need to know that each CBP division has slightly different policies, and the way they exercise their discretion is going to vary from location to location. It means that what worked, for example, at JFK Airport may not work for you in Chicago. I'm not referring to visa entrants or green card holders, but rather the situations when CBP has to make a discretionary decision. So, this particular video is based on practices from JFK CBP, JFK Airport. To come to the United States via air, you first have to convince airlines that you are eligible to enter the United States. Typically, if you have a document that's valid on its face, you will be able to board the plane. Valid visa, unexpired green card. However, those documents do not guarantee your admission to the United States, because upon arrival to the United States, you first have to pass what we call primary inspection. Primary inspection are those gates that you see right after you deboard the plane and trying to enter to pick up your luggage in the airport. You're going to be greeted by an agent who is then going to ask you for your documents that you use to board the plane, and presumably documents that are allowing you to enter the United States, such as your passport, your green card, visa, or travel document. If you pass the primary inspection, then you just go to pick up your luggage at the baggage area and you're almost in the United States, provided that the officers do not suspect that you're carrying something not allowed or not declared in your suitcases. In that case, they will stop you even after you pass the primary inspection and going to inspect your luggage. But this video is not about transporting something funny. So, what the officers do check at the primary inspection, what do they see when they look at the screen of those big computers when they see you for the first time after your plane landed in the United States? So the first thing that those officers would see would be your eligibility documents, copies of your US passport, a green card, or travel document. If there is any discrepancy in those documents and the documents you're presenting at the border, or your facial composition, you will be directed to the secondary inspection. Also, the officers are going to see red flags. Those flags may result from previous orders of removals, criminal history, warrants, unpaid child support. In this situation, you're also going to be directed to the secondary inspection. When you're trying to enter the United States with the visa, and let's say it's a most commonly used B1, B2 visa. What's going to happen is the officer is going to briefly ask you about the purpose of your visit and where you're going to stay. If at that point your answers trigger a red flag, you will be directed to the secondary inspection. But what the officers cannot see, for example, is a pending I-130 for your case. Remember, however, that you must provide truthful information. Another red flag that the officer may see would be from your travel history. If previously you entered the United States on a B1, B2 visa and stayed here for, let's say, 5 months, then left the United States, and only in a month you're coming back, that would trigger secondary inspection, where the officers of a different division are going to see whether or not you are actually an intended immigrant. During the secondary inspection, you will be escorted to a different room in the airport. There, most likely, you will have to sit and wait for a little bit while the officer is going to obtain first background information on you. You may be wondering, and you've heard, that in some situations, the officers are going to ask you for your devices, and they're going to search them as well to determine whether or not you are truly an intended immigrant. Officers may already have some information about your previous activities in the United States in order to do so. Generally speaking, as confirmed by CBP JFK, officers are not going to be searching your devices unless they have very good reasons to do so. In some locations in the United States, search of the personal devices is simply not allowed, but in most locations at the airports, a person does not have rights to refuse the inspection, even though, as I mentioned, officers do have to have a reason to start that inspection. In certain situations, you even may be patted down if the officers suspect that you are actually carrying, for example, controlled substances on you. But a usual secondary inspection does not involve that. Another thing that happens during the secondary inspection is questioning. You will be asked to provide answers to certain questions that will determine your eligibility to enter the United States. And guess what? At this stage, you are not allowed to have your attorney with you. You may hear that in the United States, everybody and everything is entitled to have a lawyer, but not during the secondary inspection. You need to know that. It means that if you believe that there may be reasons why you may not be allowed to enter the United States, you have to consult with an attorney in advance. You will not be able to have your lawyer with you at the secondary inspection. You need to know that. Now, after the officers did their questioning and performed their background checks, they will determine what to do with you. You need to know that each case starts with what we call expedited removal test. In situations where the officers determined that you are not going to be allowed into the United States, expedited removal is a special procedure that allows the officers to summarily deport you out of the United States, and it carries out a 5-year ban on your return to the United States. So this measure is rather drastic. During my meeting with the CBP JFK, I asked them about another option of withdrawing your request to admission to the United States, and when that option can be exercised or offered. And I was told that each case where the CBP determined that you are not allowed to the United States starts with an expedited removal proceedings. But then, if the officers determined that in their discretion they would like to drop that expedited removal, and rather than processing you through the system and you receiving an order of removal, would offer you to withdraw your request for admission, they would make the decision depending on the totality of the circumstances. Usually, it means your cooperation, your truthfulness, and other factors. For example, the need for you to come back to the United States on an immigrant visa. Or, for example, the need of you to accompany a sick relative in the future, or something like that. But your cooperation and your truthfulness are the main factors that they use when they make their decision, whether or not to make that order of removal against you, banning you from returning to the United States for 5 years, or to allow you to simply withdraw your request for admission, and then you have a right to reapply for that visa. Of course, it's not going to be easy, but at least you are not going to be barred from coming back to the United States within the next 5 years. So here we covered the most common issue when a B1, B2 entrant is trying to get into the United States and what happens if CBP suspect that they should not be allowed. But what about green card holders? Green card holders may face trouble as well. When the green card holder spent too much time out of the United States, and the officers now need to make a determination whether or not they actually abandoned their green card holder status. In this case, usually what happens, if officers do make such a determination, they will allow the green card holder into the United States, they will confiscate, take back their green card, and issue notice to appear for the green card holder to fight for their case in court. Another issue that may trigger trouble for green card holders trying to enter the United States after travel abroad would be criminal convictions. Remember, at the primary inspection, the officer will see if you have criminal trouble. At that time, they will refer you to secondary inspection. And after that, the officers at the secondary inspection are going to determine whether or not you may be, despite the fact that you have a green card, inadmissible to the United States because of that criminal conviction. And if you are not, according to them, you will be, again, processed the same way. You will be issued notice to appear, and you will have to fight for your case in court. Technically, you're still green card holder until the judge makes determination to take away your green card holder status. But now you triggered those removal proceedings against you. In other words, if you're a green card holder and you have criminal convictions, number one, do not travel out of the United States without consulting with an attorney. And number two, if you're a green card holder who may spend too much time out of the United States prior to leaving, please obtain a re-entry permit. This will help you to avoid two most common issues that may arise at the border at entry when you're trying to come back after the travel abroad and you have your green card. Finally, let's talk about visa misprints, mistakes on your visa stickers. It may be that you're coming to the United States on a work visa of some sort where the petition for you was approved, but then there were some changes in employment. In certain cases, it's allowed. Or, for example, misprint on a visa. Your name was misprinted. You may be allowed to board the plane, may not be allowed to board the plane in this situation. But usually this is what you need to do if that happens, if there is a mistake on your visa. The first thing you have to do is to try to address it with a consulate. But sometimes you just don't have the time to do that. You must travel to the United States. Then the correct way to address the issue would be for your attorney to contact the CBP at the airport where you're going to be seeking entry. And in 99% of the times, if there is an innocent mistake in a visa printout, but the petition was approved correctly, they will let airlines know about that, and they will make certain notes in your file so that when you're trying to enter, you are not going to be sent back. Contact the CBP in advance. If you're traveling in and out of the United States and you're being flagged for no particular reason, and you're constantly being escorted to secondary inspection. And I'm not referring to people with travel document based on asylum, because for you guys, you will be referred to secondary inspection every time you're traveling. But let's say you are a green card holder, but previously you were in removal proceedings. Guess what? CBP, at least on JFK, can help you out to some extent, and they can remove certain flags, like old and non-important removal order in the past, or, for example, the criminal case got resolved in dismissal, they can handle it. So if you feel that they're picking on you for no reason, consult with an immigration attorney, and the immigration lawyer may be able to help you so you travel to the United States the next time is going to be very smooth. Friends, I hope you find this video helpful. If so, please like and share it. Comment with your questions. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you soon.